Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Revival League Season 2 playoffs. My name is Retro, and we are back here with ETERNO versus 5STARS. It is the upper bracket semifinals, and this is the first time that we are seeing these two teams come up against each other. As of course, ETERNO have so far been the Champions League team and have been on a pretty stellar run throughout it, if I may say so myself, where they basically didn't lose all that many games. I think they only lost one or two, and that in overtime as well. So they've had a pretty decent run over there in Champions League. Meanwhile, 5STARS in the Premier League also had a pretty stellar run. We're at the top of the league for pretty much the entire time. And locked it up pretty early, locked out that top position pretty early. There was some commotion going on for that second place as well, the other place that was going to promote into the playoffs. But 5STARS were the undefeated champions of Premier League and now are here to prove themselves in the playoffs to see how far they can make it and whether or not they are going to be able to tear down some of these Champions League teams, including last season's winners, Arctic Wolves, which is really the one that I'm excited to see how that one will go. Should 5STARS win here today, they will be going up against Arctic Wolves next week, which will be a whole other ballgame. Oh yeah, true. Or REH. My bad. I forgot that Wolves still haven't played their game. But yeah, so if 5STARS win here today and REH lose their next game up against Arctic Wolves, that will be a pretty stellar game there. Or we might just end up seeing a 5STARS Arctic Wolves grand final all the way next week, at the end of next week, depending on how certain games go and where each team ends up. If somebody has a run through the lower brackets, that could just be a possibility, which that would be very exciting, whether it's 5STARS or REH, just because it will definitely be a reminiscent of last season, where it was the Flying Fabians or Toxic Monkeys, however you want to call them, that had a pretty much the exact same run as 5STARS. They were the fan favorites. They were the favorites from the Premier League, and they had a really deep run. They got all the way into the grand finals, and then unfortunately, due to scheduling issues, they were unable to play that final game and had to forfeit it to Arctic Wolves. So, maybe 5STARS or REH are going to be able to do what Flying Fabians were not able to do here last season, but all of that is still set in the future for next week. Right now, we have ETERNO versus 5STARS going on right away into Theme Park, which I'm very excited about. I was very happy throughout the map bans, watching them from the sidelines and seeing 5STARS ban out both Oregon and Clubhouse. Very excited for that. I am truly so happy to be able to cast a day where there's not going to be Oregon or Clubhouse. Unfortunately, the next map will be Chalet, so we'll still have to see Chalet, but I've really grown to like Chalet again, or to like seeing it. Of course, it is one of my favorite maps to play. I just don't like to particularly see it cast. I don't particularly like to cast it just because it gets a little bit boring, especially if it gets played a lot. But regardless, it is Theme Park, and the first kill already coming out. It's Ansatori onto Selberg. There was quite a lot of commotion there on this cafe door. Two players peeking out at the same time, and Ansatori is still on an absolute tear, picking up a second one, and already putting quite a deep end here onto 5STARS. MPH is going to help him with that as he takes down Zephin with an impact grenade. Kappa and Reaperance now in a 2 versus 5, trying to put a dent into this defense of ETERNO and trying to make something happen. Of course, it is going to be quite a tall order. I think this round may just well be over before it's really even started. There's 5 players, so much utility still at hand. 3 impact grenades, 2 C4s, and a whole lot of gunpowder in all of those weapons for ETERNO to completely counter anything the 5STARS would maybe be able to do here on their attack onto the dorms and the kids' room. And, well, as Reaperance falls down the hatch and to his death, it's all down to Keppa. There will go a grenade, but it will miss and not connect to anything. He just looks away at the wrong moment and now drops to his doom as Z7 is awaiting there with an SMG-11 in hand. finds the headshot as well, ends that round at about halfway through it, and we move on further through this theme park map. Now, of course, you know, to see ETERNO be so dominant right here, right now, is not that surprising, knowing that they are the sort of quote-unquote superior team. You know, they are the current leaders of the Champions League, and they are the favorites to take it all just on the back of that. They are a very, very strong team, have been tearing through the Champions League, but it's also the fact that this is a theme park game. Now, theme park sort of famously is very defender-sided, and that remains so even in Revival League with over 60% defensive win rate. So to see ETERNO be on defense first and to win their first round, really not that surprising. When it could get surprising is, you know, by round 4 or 5, if 5-stars haven't been able to put a foot on the map yet, if they're not able to win even a tertiary side pick, if they're not able to really do anything, that is when it really could start to become an issue. And I'm already starting to worry a little bit just because of the fact that ETERNO are remaining on this top 4 defense. Of course, the previous round, I misspoke when I said that they were defending kids' room and dorms. That is exactly what they are doing now. Previous round was initiation and office, which means that leaves that bottom floor, mainly that armory and throne room, intact and ready for ETERNO to go to whenever they please. And that, as we all know, is one of the most impenetrable sites in the game, most certainly on this map. So if 5-stars aren't able to put a dent into these defenses before they are forced to attack onto throne and armory, that is when I really worry. But of course, it is theme park, it is very defender-sided, so it still could turn away into 5-stars' favor, and it could be, you know, a 5-1 split both ways, or maybe even a 6-0 each way. It is definitely not unheard of, and it's something that we do tend to see pretty often, actually, with theme park, just considering how defender-sided it actually is. But without any further ado, the round has well and truly begun, and that is Selberg creeping up those yellow stairs, maybe trying to put a little bit of pressure up on that side. Meanwhile, Rush and Zephyr are together with each other, those grenades in pocket for both of them, ready to rain hell from below. Of course, very, very good for that vertical utility. And the first kill, and Satori again strikes with the reference. That is going to hurt, considering that is their hard reach, but Selberg is there to pick up 1 and 2, bring the man advantage to his team for the first time here right now, leaving ETERNO maybe wishing they had been a little bit more careful. Clone will get shot at the top of the yellow stairs. Venom still unmoved from his position at the top of the yellow stairs, and grenades will start to fly, but of course they will get caught by those ADSs as they are protecting him, and Rush is unable to really put any more pressure onto that position. And now with limited utility, 5-stars are starting to get a little bit short on time as well. They're still droning everything, trying to put a little bit of pressure from whichever way they can, and they find 1 kill, but are immediately traded out, and that Frostmat ends up being the death of one of them as well. Back in a 2 versus 2, Rush now has a clear path up those stairs as there's no longer a Frostmat there, but of course he does still have a TCSG in the pocket, or in the hands of Z7 rather, to still worry about Keppa in the meantime, pushing in from that trophy side, or from that initiation side rather, trying to maybe put a little pressure up on that. Rush joining him now as well on those yellow stairs. Keppa having to move in, finds 1, and there goes Keppa finding the second one as well on a trade that I didn't think was going to happen. It really didn't look like that was a trade. I thought that maybe Rush had gotten him through the wall, or maybe Rush had come up the stairs before I could really even see it, or that, you know, we're going to have to see, you know, Rush trying to clutch that with just a couple of seconds to go. But no, it was Keppa hitting those shots on those final 2 players in the dire seconds of the round. I was able to find that round win for 5-stars, putting them on the board now, and eliminating that possibility of ETERNO having a perfect half here. And now ETERNO going back to Kids and Dorms, trying to win this side again. Of course, it slipped away from them early, with losing a couple players very early on. You know, they did kill Reprints, that was the opening pick, but Silver was there to get a refrag and then some, which really put a dent into ETERNO, but they still were able to waste so much time with the utility that they had already had placed, and with a pretty passive approach from 5STARS as well. They were really careful with what they were doing. It really could have gone either way, but Kepa, luckily for 5STARS, was there to find that kill and to find actually those kills, rather, to put 5STARS on the board finally. ETERNO reinforcing and making those head holes as well, of course, to try and counter as many of these positions as possible. Foregoing the Frost this time and going for something a little bit less conventional nowadays. That Alibi, of course, since losing her shield and impacts, has become less of a fan favorite than she used to be. So quite curious why they decided to go for that operator over the Frost, who definitely seemed to be a really, really good bring. Of course, you know, there's a little bit of predictability in that as well, where, you know, if you bring Frost again, you can count on your enemies knowing that you've done so and being a little bit more careful about how they approach you, completely eliminating any potential damage that you could do with that operator. And of course, Alibi can do a lot to deceive players and also to give quite a lot of information about where the push is coming from, and that's exactly what it did, as it was Selberg to shoot that Alibi clone and immediately get punished for it. Selberg, a sort of a star from last round, does get shut down, and MPA is trying to run out. We'll find Reaper, and Zephan is there to get a bit of a refrag on the safes, but not before the damage was already done. That run out is really the one that will hurt them the most, as Reprints again dead on the hard reach, not able to provide any more support for his team, not able to provide those hard reaches either. It's definitely going to be a bit of a challenge, especially when he's dropped that diffuser outside, and now with less than 90 seconds to go, they're gonna have to waste a little bit of time going for it outside and trying to find Zephan, making his way into initiation on very low HP, and undoubtedly he's got either head holes or rotate in that wall. It is a rotate to contest against now as well, which of course will limit his sightlines and his movement as well. And as that time is dwindling down, Z7 has that on lock with the TCSG, but he is taking quite a bit of damage there. Zephan lucky to stay alive and will be rotating away. The diffuser now retrieved in the pocket of Kepa, as Rush will find Venom inside of initiation, and now Kepa retaking this space inside of initiation. Z7 will find Zephan with that Vulcan canister. He was such low HP, there was no way that wouldn't have killed him. Oh no, Ansatori finds Rush as he was trying to go for a grenade at just the wrong moment. It's all down to Kepa yet again. 1 versus 2, he finds one. He knows roughly where the other person is, all the way inside of Cafe, but it's Ansatori that wins that with the 1.5x on the MP5K, and he will win that round for his team yet again. ETERNO retake the lead, put 5STARS in their place, and say exactly who the boss is here and now. And now with initiation and office unlocked again for them to go back to and to defend again after it was a pretty much a bloodbath coming out from them in the first round, it may just so happen again. But just as well, 5STARS might be able to find their footing a little bit better. You know, of course, they've got a lot of information about the way that ETERNO like to play this. They've gotten a lot of information about the operators that they like to bring. And most importantly, they know how they defend this bomb site. So 5STARS should be a little bit more prepared about what to do and how to play this, and more importantly, they should be a little bit more wary and a little bit more prepared to fight against Ansatori, who so far has been the key player for ETERNO. Getting those opening picks, and even when they're not opening, getting those closing picks as well, as we saw in that previous round. Definitely a very, very crucial player so far, and will definitely remain instrumental for ETERNO's defenses, and I'm sure their attacks as well. So 5STARS are definitely going to have to be wary of that and understand that that's not really, you know, something that they can contest just by walking through, they're going to have information. They're going to have a lot of gunpowder behind that information. But Ansatorian, not one to wait around, is already up on that doorway. And if Rush isn't aware of this, he could just be going down. But Ansatorian, a little too wise, pushes away from the doorway just in time and escapes with his life, at least for now. Rush on drones in a pretty safe position. Leaves a drone in a slightly unsafe position, but it does push Ansatori away from the cafe side and forces him a little bit further outside of the room. Selberg trying to contest against Safes as well, who's playing around this top arcade area. Selberg engaging here against Ansatori, who's still not letting this place go. Rush with the clone, baiting him out a little bit and still trying to gather as much information as he can. There goes the swing, and he finds it, but the drop through the hatch comes at the same time, and he finds the kill. Zephin finds yet another one, but he's not aware of the potential of Safes at the bottom of these arcade stairs. Neither is he aware of the potential of Venom at the bottom of the yellow stairs, who finds that kill and chancing yet another one through a wall and a doorway at a very, very long range. And now Rush finds himself in a pinch here against two players looking at him from two different directions, and they have him locked down. Nearly loses his life there as he gets stuck in the beam. On the pillar, rather. Safes just chancing onto that kill. Z7, close range with the shotgun, waiting for somebody to drop that hatch. Venom now safely inside of this top yellow little cubby area. Meanwhile, Keppa is in the bomb site, but no diffuser. Venom will go down. Rush from a prone position will find that kill. I think that was Venom trying to run away, but wasn't able to do anything. And Keppa from inside of sight beautifully displayed patience. He waited for them and he found that kill, but Reference is taking damage and then goes down as well. I think it was a Thorn Trap that took him down, and now Saves is the perfect opportunity to isolate Keppa and find that kill. Oh, but he looks the wrong way, and now he's the one that's isolated, and there goes Rush. We'll find that kill in the exact same time as the plant was going down inside of sight. 5STARS beautifully play it out, and they find that round. Very, very dominant, very, very well played, and they used that time to their advantage. In the first round, they wasted a lot of time, didn't really do much, but this time, they knew exactly what they were doing. They wasted a lot of time, but they also knew what they were doing with the time. I actually wouldn't even say that they were wasting time as much as they were just using the time that they had at hand. Firstly, with droning out Ansatori as much as possible inside of that cafe corridor, and then the beautifully timed, swing through the doorway and the drop through the hatch to isolate that position and to make sure that they capitalize and get that kill. Even if they lost that initial player, they lost Selberg, they were able to pick up the refrag there with Zephin, and Zephin was able to pick up yet another one onto MPH on the Legion, eliminating not only another player and another gun, but also a heavy amount of utility that MPH had at his disposal. Keppa inside of sight, beautiful patience to not give anything away, to not make a move or to not make a sound, to not give away that he is there and that he has control of the bomb site. Reaperince rotating around in the meantime on the rooftop, joining him in the bomb site. Of course, that Thorn Trap did kind of damage them a little bit, and it really could have been the thorn in their side, and it really could have thorn in their side. I didn't realize that I did that, but it really could have been the end of their efforts. But luckily, they were able to retrieve that player, and they were able to swing it together and not give anything away to chance. Rush was there beautifully to get that swing, and now this is the true determining round, because this is the most difficult site to attack in probably all of Siege, most certainly on this map. Pretty much any setup that you have on this is going to be pretty impenetrable for most teams. So 5STARS are really going to have to try their hardest to get a round win here, because if they achieve that, they get a heavy amount of advantage. MPH contesting from the top of the yellow stairs and rotating around, as that initial engagement was really not too pretty, even for him. And now some of those EMPs are going off as well. They know that yellow stairs is vacated, but is it really as Safes finds himself there as well. He does shoot one of those summon charges, but chooses to not shoot the rest of them for reasons I frankly do not really know. Maybe he didn't want to give away his position too much, or maybe his team gave the comms, just let him do it. Whatever the reason might have been for that, it does give them at least a sight line through the bomb site. Rush taking a little bit of damage there. He's taking a lot of damage, and he goes down actually to MPH. And Satori will find Selberg. He strikes again. 3 versus 5, and 5 stars are really not looking too good. Kappa will find that refrag finally, but now Venom has made his way down these dragon stairs and is looking to isolate them completely on the side of maintenance. Zephyr is still on repel, meaning that his team is completely disjointed. Kappa and Reaperance are both stuck inside of maintenance, and Kappa will find Venom. MPH at the top of the dragon balcony, taking a lot of damage and swinging around all the way. Zephyr, despite being on cams, finds that kill onto MPH. He really was not able to find a footing there, and now Safe's isolated from his teammate. Satori is having to traverse here through these hallways and through these openings that the attackers made. Meanwhile, drones are finding Satori and uncovering his position, but now Safe's back at the bomb site, and Satori on the bomb site as well. We'll find Keppa. This is looking a lot worse for wear now for the 5-stars. Reaperance and Zephyr having to try and find a way back into the bomb site. Zephyr knows there's a player at the top of those boxes. There's nothing he can do about it, and Saves will find the last two. Reaperance and Zephyr both fall victim to the P90 of Doc. Doc has been gaining a lot of traction recently, and we can see exactly why he can do so much damage and quickly ETERNO win the round that really was the one that I think everyone expected for them to win. Just considering, again, it is the most difficult bomb site for any team to really get into and to get a win on Theme Park. Although 5-stars really did bring that together quite a lot. I think if they were able to isolate Safes in some way, or if they were able to catch him before he was able to make his way back into the bomb site and then onto those boxes, which are really, really difficult to counter, they probably would have been able to get that round. At that point, it would have been in a 3v1 or 2v1, and there's only so much that Satori would have been able to do, but unfortunately, the round did not go that way, and ETERNO took the lead, or retook the lead, rather. And now we're leaving 5-stars wanting more. Now, of course, 5-stars are in a pretty good position here. I was talking about how we could find ourselves here with a 6-0 half or a 5-1 half, and luckily for 5-stars, they have avoided that entirely. Now, of course, ETERNO have secured themselves at least an even split, but if they are able to win this round as well, get themselves that lead in the half, it really will bode better for them come next half. But 5-stars really would have put themselves into the driver's seat had they been able to win that round of Throne and Armory, as that would put ETERNO on the back foot. Then they would have to make the decision, okay, do we go back to Throne and Armory, or do we go back to a bomb site that we know we can win? Which, at this point, luckily for 5-stars, there really isn't a bomb site that ETERNO can know that they can win, other than that Throne and Armory, considering that both of the other bomb sites, they have both won and lost. Now 5-stars going for that same approach of a sort of eastern push over. Not really bothering too much with trying to go from the other side. Of course, the previous time it worked with that beautifully timed drive to the hatch and, you know, the Selberg-Zephyr coordination, but it's really not something that they want to go up against. And Saves will find rush regardless. I'm not really sure where that was, but doesn't really matter where it was because, well, it happened, and now that's 2 grenades gone. MPH guarding the bottom of the yellow stairs, making sure that they can't put up any pressure onto that, and Saves will find Selberg as well, leaving 5-stars in a 3 versus 5 now. Prince Keppa and Zephyr all to their own, trying to make something happen without their entry fraggers. How much can they do? Really, time will tell. Taking a lot of damage is saves, but of course he's docked, so he's able to re-heal himself back to full HP. A grenade comes out and misses Reprints completely. Was able to open up that initiation wall even further. Give himself a bit more of a sight line, but of course that is not the bomb site, so it's still not really revealing too much, and say still holding that position or that push from the bathroom. They're not giving anything away, wasting so much time. Reprints looking to maybe find a lucky kill through the drone hole. Will not be so lucky. Beautiful coordination there for Kepa to find saves. He was trying to actually test against Zephyr. Another impact grenade comes flying straight at Reprints. Will miss again, but MPH will find Zephyr, and now it's all down to Reprints and Kepa in a 2v4 again. Kepa finding Z7, who was trying to cross over that open wall, but now they're disjointed. Reprints with the diffuser in hand is on this initiation side, trying to contest against those positions. MPH rotates round through the cafe, or through cafeteria rather, but Kepa will find him, and Reprints will find Venom as well. It's all down to Reprints now. 1 versus 1 against Ansatori, and he does not have the time to get back into the bomb site and get that bomb planted down. Ansatori, all he had to do was run. That's exactly what he did, and he found that round win. ETERNO take the half at 4-2, and 5STARS now on the defensive side are looking to make their name known. Of course, them being in a 2-4 split is a very, very good position for them to be in, just considering the fact that they have that little bit of breathing room. And of course, this being theme park as it is very defender-sided in pretty much, I wanted to say 90% of the cases, but that is quite literally statistically false. But it is, you know, a really, really high defensive win rate. It's had it since at least the rework. I don't really know what it was like pre-rework. I don't know if it was even in the esports map pool. I don't remember that it was, but if it had been, I truly do not remember the size statistics of it back then. But since the rework, it has definitely been way more defender-sided than any other map in Siege. And, well, interestingly enough, Cellbrig is bringing the Solace here, hunting these drones already so early on, but ETERNO a little too wise to just give them away that freely. They did lose 2 in that prep phase, but not to the Solace. Solace, of course, not there only for the drones. They are for all sorts of utility. Any utility, really. But it's not just the utility itself, it's also knowing where the attack is coming from. Seeing those drones and seeing utility going one way, you can be sure that that is where the attack is coming from. Or maybe not sure, but you can have a pretty good guess that, okay, well, this is probably where the attack is going to come from. And now being able to spot those claymores through the wall as well, he's able to relay that information to his team. Hey, you guys were feeling a little frisky, wanted to go for a jump out. Do not. There are hella claymores everywhere, and Kepa will find the first one of the round, finding a beautiful kill onto MPH, and Kepa, ooh, he was being targeted from below with a grenade. I don't think he even knew that that's what was happening, but he was being targeted, and they found him regardless. Venom finds Kepa, who really should have been dead like 15 seconds ago to that grenade that didn't end up going off, but that they were definitely trying to go for. Equalize the man count yet again. Luckily for 5STARS, Kepa's utility has already been placed down. It is not that valuable of utility, such as the OMI would have been had he been alive for a little bit longer, but Zephyr will go down, and C7 giving a little too much of himself away. I was timing that was on his side. The Reprints didn't take his head clean off right there, but he's able to open up this wall and put a little bit more pressure onto the side of 5STARS now. And Satori has pretty good into the bomb site itself, and he actually walks into the bomb site itself and finds the kill onto Cellbrig as well, completely isolating the bomb site now and finding the space to plant as well. Rush with a beautiful peek and swing finds the kill onto Saves, but he's immediately shut down by Ansatori. who has since vacated the bomb site and found his way into the adjoining room, and he will find the final kill as well onto Reprints. This defensive half is really not going the way the 5-stars would have wanted it. Losing that initial opening round in the defense really does not bode well for them, and not only does it not bode well for them, but it also does give ETERNO quite a deep advantage here now at 5-2. Step away from that point, and 5-stars still only have just 2 rounds to their name. This could get ugly.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Deciding to go to kids and dorms instead now. Seeing that initiation and office didn't really go the way that they wanted it to. Trying to maybe go for something different, maybe challenge ETERNO in a different way. Maybe recognizing that maybe their defenses were a little too short when it came to that office and initiation. Maybe they were not expecting for the pressure to be so heavy from that cache side, and from that control side as well, with those walls getting opened up and everybody pretty much flooding at the site, leaving 5-stars completely defenseless. Hopefully this time they're going to be a little bit better for wear, and this time taking a page out of ETERNO's book and bringing that Frost. We haven't seen her in a while, and she could just be catching somebody off guard, especially if it's not something that we see from 5-stars often, which, unfortunately, due to the schedule that we've had, we've not been able to watch too much of Premier League, so it's hard to know how much 5-stars bring the Frost, and it's even harder for ETERNO to know how much they bring the Frost, considering that they've not really had to play them, maybe in some scrims in their private time, but definitely not in a Revival League game. So it would be difficult to know for ETERNO here how 5-stars really play this out, and that's what actually makes these, Premier versus Champions League team games so fun to watch, is that it's 2 teams that have pretty much never played against each other. And that really, really gets fun. MPH will find the opening kill into Reprints. Yet again, Reprints falls victim to that opening kill and is unable to stay alive for much longer, but Rush is there to find Ansatori and to find the diffuser with them as well. That will take down the Thatcher and all of his little utility, leaving 5-stars a little bit better fitted for the rest of this defense, but with the Z7 still with the ace in pocket, with still so much utility at their disposal, losing Thatcher when there's no Bandit or Kaid on the board really isn't going to matter all that much, at least not for now. Of course, those Siri gates still could come into play and could still be a bit of an issue, especially as then now they have very limited utility to actually clear it with, and Salberg on a tear will find 2 of them with that.
Attackers recovered the bomb.
Oh, we were looking at the wrong person. Because I wanted to say that's the MPX in the thing, but we're looking at Rush with the Vector, but I just got a little confused about what was happening. No, it was Selberg, indeed, with the MPX on the ward and to find 2 very important frags, leaving ETERNO now without any utility to clear those Siri gates with, meaning that they're going to have to make their way through some of these walls. And as Ansatori disconnects, ETERNO's comms just may be in a bit of a shamble right now. They know exactly where Safes is, but they have no utility to clear him out from that position. They don't have a grenade to throw at him to clear him or to kill him. And he's not really giving them away enough for them to be able to shoot at him. And Zephyr will find Venom, leaving Safes all to his own in a 1 versus 4, although everybody is peeking, and that's exactly what happens when everybody peeks. He finds one, nearly finds the second, but it's a beautiful cross setup. Selberg will find a third of the round for himself and will win that round for 5-stars. Meanwhile, ETERNO calling a tech pause as Ansatori was unable to reconnect in time for that round to end. And hopefully it's not going to end up being a rehost situation for them as well. Of course, they've now wasted their tech pause, which means that if any further or any future disconnects happen, they will not be able to get a tech pause. They will be able to still have one rehost, I think, but they're not going to have a tech pause available. And if they're going to waste a tactical pause, a timeout on that, well, that could just be a bit of an issue, considering that it's far shorter. And it might not give them enough time to get their player back into the lobby. Nevertheless, though, 5STARS find that round winner, deciding to not go back to initiation and office until they absolutely have to, which hopefully for them will be after this round, which they've won on Throne and Armory, and, well, then they're forced to go back to initiation and office, which they still might not choose to do. I know that Labs and Storage is a bit of a meme site, but there are quite a good few setups for it that, if executed correctly, really, really could give a team not only more depth in their defense, but also could give them a bit of a free round, because if ETERNO are not prepared to really attack and disassemble a Labs and Storage defense, it could give 5STARS the upper hand that they need to maybe equalize that score line. But of course, that is all in the future. Hard to know where that really is going to go. But Armory and Throne, very excited to see how this goes, especially as Reference is sticking to that Bandit, and will undoubtedly be trying to Bandit trick at least one of those walls. I would at least assume that that's what's happening. Interestingly enough, they did not decide to bring a Cade. Of course, it is a little bit harder to trick, Cade trick, especially against a Thermite, or not a Thermite, my apologies, against a Thatcher. But still, he's not been banned. Very curious. That's not something they're trying to do, as of course he has a lot more versatility. They're attacking from yellow, which we didn't anticipate. Chuck a claw halfway across the map, essentially, and toss it up on that wall. Something that sometimes you really have to do when you're playing, and something takes you off guard. But nevertheless, they are confident in what they're doing and what they're going to be giving ETERNO as a challenge here. And speaking of the bands, actually, a little bit ago, quite interesting bands. Osa, Dokebi, Mira, and Valkyrie. The usual suspects, really. I mean, if you've taken a look at the Revival League statistics, specifically the ban rates in the bands of operators, you will know exactly how this goes. Usually, which this pretty much tends to be the lineup, and when it isn't, well, then you can almost certainly expect to see Zami, Flores, or Solus up there as well, but these do tend to be the usual suspects, especially Mira, who is the most banned operator so far in the game, or in the league. Though could be following shortly after. And now with Anstori back in the lobby, and ours in chat, we are ready to get back into it. It's really, really good, because I was running out of things to talk about. But regardless of all of that, you're back here with a 5STARS defense, and they're going downstairs into Throne and Armory, which I've talked a big game about this bomb site when ETERNO were defending it, and ETERNO proved me to be correct about how difficult it is to defend this bomb site. Now 5STARS will try and prove me right again by defending it just as well. Although quite an interesting lineup. I mentioned Reference on the Bandit. Didn't really mention too much of anything else, but it's very, very peculiar to see an Oryx when there's really far less reason to bring him. Recently, of course, he lost his 1.5, and he is generally pretty, lackluster when it comes to utility. He does have some utility. Of course, we can see him bringing those barbed wires right now, where he has the choice of the prox alarms as well. So he does have some utility that can be really, really good in certain situations, but he's still very, as I say, lackluster, and that's something you see too often. But Selberg is also one of those players that we've seen play Oryx quite a lot. If you know Selberg on Clubhouse with the Oryx, it is definitely something to be concerned about. So, not that surprising, I guess, in terms of it being 5-stars, but just a little bit surprising to see it on theme park itself. Regardless, though, pretty heavy roam presence from 5-stars as well. 3 players upstairs, 2 players downstairs. Would be a bit of a problem, especially as they did not bring any counter to MPH on the Ying. They did not bring a Warden, which we saw ETERNO clutching onto pretty consistently. And Rush will find that opening pick onto Ansatori, taking down the Thatcher, taking down the Ying, taking down the Yana. Selberg is on a tear. Saves. And Z7 now all alone, trying to find this one and make that just save cell alone. Z7 goes down. Sace will find Selberg, get a bit of a refrag going, but now without the diffuser or any of his friends around, there's not much that he can do, and 5-stars with a heavy roam presence are able to completely shut down ETERNO in their efforts to attack the Armory and Throne Room bomb site. They'll lead us off into round 10, now trailing just 1 round behind. Very well played from 5-stars. I was questioning it a little bit, that choice to go so heavy on the roam presence, and it's a bit hefty there with not bringing anything not bringing any denial against
Defenders, protect your bombs from being
against the Ying. That really could have gone very sour, but luckily for 5-stars it did not. And even more luckily so, ETERNO had no clue about the setup that 5-stars had ahead of them, and that is the advantage that they head into, both of these teams rather, head into being from separate leagues, knowing, or rather not knowing, what their opponent is capable of doing, and knowing that their opponent doesn't know anything about them. You know, maybe a little bit. 5-stars probably have more information on ETERNO, just from the fact that ETERNO were in Champions League and had a lot of their games streamed, but, you know, 5-stars have kept this exact same lineup since the qualifiers, so ETERNO also have quite a bit of information onto 5-stars as well, to know how they play and how they play certain maps. Although I don't remember seeing too much of theme park. It was mostly Chalet back in the qualifiers. But regardless of all of that, 5-stars did decide to go to storage and labs, and this is exactly what I was talking about. This is one of those bomb sites that if 5-stars play it right, and if they are able to shut ETERNO down here, completely catch them off guard and catch them red-handed attacking this bomb site, it really could be a bit of a free round for them to equalize that scoreline, and then they could go back upstairs and try and defend those bomb sites, see what they can achieve up there, maybe initiation in office again, although I find it unlikely that they'd be going back there. A lot of pressure coming in from this eastern side of the map here for ETERNO as they're trying to disassemble this 5-stars defense, which remains pretty roam heavy, which does seem to be the MO for 5-stars, and Selberg on the heavy roam will get shut down. They had a pretty good cross setup and they isolated him completely. Selberg goes down first, leaving 5-stars to scramble in a 4 versus 5. Of course, they still have quite a lot of players, quite a lot of utility left as well. Those frostmats could be some more trouble as well. Saves bringing the Brava. Unfortunately for him, there's really not that much utility for him to hack. Of course, there are those Mu Jammers, there are those mine magnets, but there's really not much that they are going to be able to do. Maybe the mine magnets, if they get hacked in the right place, could be a bit of a problem when it comes to those C4s getting thrown out. Or maybe those cameras, if 5-stars are unaware of them getting hacked, which I don't know if they are. That also could be a bit of a problem for the set of 5-stars, but no. That camera did get shot out in the end, the one that we saw getting hacked there by a Brava drone, so it's tough to know how much utility ETERNO have really gained from the Brava, but now this is really starting to fall apart for them. They're losing players left, right, and center. Fresh is able to find one, And there's one in the frost mat as well, but they're making their way into the bomb site, and they're finding everything that they need. Rush is in effectively 1 versus 2, and MPH is in a pretty irretrievable position, but Venom is in the bomb site and is going for the plant. Rush rotating around the other way, trying to maybe make something happen here in a, as I say, effectively 1 versus 2 post-plant situation. And Satori's close range here, right on the bathroom door, which will be the first area of attack here for Rush, and bit of a scrappy one there for Satori, but nevertheless he finds that kill, finds that round win as well, and the risk did not pay off for 5STARS. It was a round that they could have gotten to equalize the scoreline. Instead, they gave ETERNO the edge. Put them onto match point, at least for now. And, well, that really could be the interesting one. Could be an interesting map come Chalet, depending on whether or not ETERNO are able to win this one. I forget which map was which team's pick, which is really, really great for me right now. But nevertheless, still, it's going to be an interesting seeing Chalets. Of course, it is a more down the middle meta map, where I think where we're really going to see both of these teams stick it and stick it good. We could even be seeing a bit of a, overtime as well. And this is 5STARS pick, as I've just now checked. This is 5STARS pick. So them going 4 and 6, at least for now, could be a bit of an issue, especially if ETERNO are able to win yet again. They did decide to go back into initiation and office after very many rounds. And hopefully for 5STARS, they were going to be able to find the win this time and not let ETERNO get away with it. But of course, ETERNO, very, very strong team, and already have so much information and are already taken down so much of this utility. And the round has barely begun. Reaper's already having to pull away a little bit from the position that he was holding, a little bit closer to that control room, not really wanting to present himself too far. And Satori, losing one of those Twitch drones to a gun, was able to finally clear that new jammer off the wall, allowing his team to maybe breach that wall when it comes time for it, but nevertheless lose a little bit of that utility. And now with the smoke popped onto that doorway, he's able to propel into the room. It will be a concussion mine that will go off and that will give him away, but saves will find Keppa regardless, giving his team the advantage again. Oh, just standing right in the middle of the room. What are you doing, Zephin? Saves will find that kill and find that utility as well. They're making their way straight through the bomb set. It's an absolute collapse. They find Reaperints as well. It's all down to Selberg and Rush to try and salvage something of this round. Selberg isolated inside of initiation, cannot do anything. It's all down to Rush, and he does deny the flawless there as he trades out that final kill, but there was really not much that you could do in a 1 versus 5. ETERNO take it 7-4. And 5STARS are on the back foot as they go onto ETERNO's map pick on Chalet, having to try and see what they are able to achieve once they get there. And Satori closes it out with 14 kills to his name. Most of those, I would have to say, are the opening kill as well. Very, very explosive in that early round. And as I said, that he would be an instrumental part of ETERNO's defenses as well as their attacks. But nevertheless, that was a pretty good effort there from 5STARS. I think that they went into this one being not the favorites. Of course, they did win it against Lumina in the previous game in the upper bracket quarterfinals, and now they've advanced further through the upper bracket. So this is, when it really starts to get tough, when, you're starting to get tougher and tougher opponents. Of course, the top seed from the Champions League were never going to be an easy feat for 5STARS, and they still put up a pretty good fight. A lot of those rounds were a little bit scrappy, but a few of the rounds that they did win were pretty confident. So it really is hard to say how that will look on Chile, but nevertheless, stay tuned for that. We will be right back. And when we come back, it will be ETERNO versus 5STARS on Chile.
illusion. When you hold me, nothing seems to move. Roll with the illusion, higher and higher. Watching the waves, sipping on Chardonnay. Hey, hey. You got me watching the waves, sipping on Chardonnay. You got me watching the waves, sipping on Chardonnay. You got me watching the waves, sipping on Chardonnay. Sipping on
I go to sleep, open my eyes, I'm looking down. Whenever you're calling, baby, you know I turn around. I see your face, but not one sound. Whatever is calling, baby, you know I turn around. Baby, you know I turn around. Baby, you know I turn around.
Sound like
Baby, you know I turn around.
Push the tempo. Push the push the
I go to sleep, open my eyes, not one sound. Whatever is calling, baby, you know I turn around. Baby, you know I turn around. Whenever you're calling, baby, you know I turn around. Whatever is calling, baby, you know I turn around. Baby, you know I turn around. Open my eyes. Not one sound. Whatever is calling, baby, you know I'll turn around. Baby, you know I'll turn around.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Revival League Season 2 Upper Bracket Semifinals. My name is Retro, and we are back with ETERNO versus 5STARS. This is map number 2. If you missed map number 1, it was Theme Park, and it went 7-4 in favor of ETERNO. 5STARS started out on attack on Theme Park, which we all know is a bit of pretty much a death sentence at this point. They really gave it their all, I think. Kind of made some mistakes along the way, but overall, ETERNO ended up being the better team, at least for the time being, for those 7 rounds that they were able to win and close out that map. And now on Chalet, 5STARS are having to not only battle to try and get a map point here to keep this best of 3 series alive and to, maybe get a chance to advance further throughout these upper brackets and not be thrown down into the lower brackets, which of course, that is the beauty of double elimination brackets, the fact that even if 5STARS lose today, they will still not be eliminated from the competition. They will still be able to compete in the lower brackets and fight their way through, which, if you're thinking, hey, I don't want that is disgusting, that is awful, is not what I came here for, I don't want that. Well, remember that is exactly the trajectory that G2 took in SI 2023 when they won. Of course, they got eliminated very early on throughout the upper bracket. I think it might have been round 1 or 2 of the upper bracket where they got eliminated from it, thrown down to the Wolves in the lower brackets, and they fought their way through the lower bracket all the way into the grand finals, and they won it. So, 5STARS could just pull off a, G2 here and get their win from the lower brackets, or really any team in the lower brackets at this point could do the exact same thing. But that is for the future. Right now, it is Chalet proceeding. What's the third map? Villa. Oh, Villa. That could be interesting. Oh, I would love to see Villa. Especially as Villa is unfortunately getting removed from the map pool for next season. For next season of not just Revival League, but also of just all competitive play, pretty much. I don't think any league is really going to keep a custom map pool for the remainder of their following season, whenever the new map pool hits, just because what's the point then? I feel like that's one of those things that should be standardized, just so that teams aren't then having to practice maps that, are only in certain leagues and not in others. I feel like that would be pretty silly. But yeah, Villa is leaving, team is leaving. September. Yeah, I know that it's meant to come in September. I'm just saying whenever the new league comes in. It should be a standardized thing for all leagues to accept that new map pool with the Night Haven and
Reloading. Cover me.
What else is added? Emerald Plains? Yeah. To accept that one as the consulate. Wasn't that Emerald Plains? Why am I getting Emerald Plains? It might have been like a Varsity Gaming tweet or something. Anyway, yeah, it is. It will be a new consulate, which will also be pretty fun to watch. But in any case, yikes, this round is well and underway, and Zephyr, one to really be known for his patience, sitting at the top of those stairs outside, waiting to catch somebody, and nearly caught not one but two players. In the meantime, the rest of the 5-stars have cleared out that top floor and are starting to go for the execute. Funnily enough, ooh, yikes! That is an ugly one. Yikes. Okay, so to recap what happened there, ETERNO did not make footholds at the bottom of that wall the way that most teams tend to do. Instead, they left it soft, and then, well, when Selberg tried to open up that wall, he got shut down by Saves, who was just sort of spraying all around. And in doing so, he was able to down Reaperince as well. Luckily for 5-stars, he remains alive, so he's gonna be able to help his team out when it comes to... Wow. Clear out some of this utility, but it's going to be a bit of an issue now. Without a Flores and with Azami on the board, it's going to be pretty difficult for them to clear out this utility, especially as all of it is getting caught by everything Ancestor and MPH both at the same time strike and find a piece. Zephyr and Keppa all to their own. An all too familiar sight to see as well. So much of this utility still left to clear, and they have no way of doing it. Again, as I said, Flores is off the board, as is Nook, a potential second pair of grenades, which they didn't bring. Regardless, they could have brought a sledge or something like that, but no. And Sotoria will take down Zephyr, leaving Keppa all to his lonesome in a 1 versus 4 situation. If you were wondering what that was, it was a bit of a ping check for the lobby, as some issues had been reported for the ping of certain players from certain teams, and we're just checking to make sure that everything was in order, and it on that little glance it looked in order to me, but what wasn't in order was 5-stars attack of that gaming and bar bomb site, which they completely fell apart on all the way on the top floor. I think they were completely unprepared for that entire situation with that office wall. Well, to be fair, it was a pretty reckless thing from, I think that was Enzatori, to do in the first place. It was safe. It was safe. Some the Zami. It was a pretty reckless thing to do in the first place, to just sort of swing a wall wildly like that and just start sprinting all over the place and spraying your enemies down. So it's pretty hard to predict somebody just doing something that mindless, but regardless, ETERNO take the round, and 5-stars are now, yet again, trailing rounds. Of course, it's only 1 round, and it is a bomb site that does tend to go in favor of defenders pretty often.
10 seconds remaining.
So, not the end of the world, really, for 5-stars here for them to continue the rest of this attack, but it will be pretty difficult, and of course, this is not just them having to fight back and maybe try and see if they can get a map point and keep the series alive, but also trying to see if they are able to take the win away from ETERNO on their map pick, which is exactly what ETERNO did to 5-stars on Theme Park, which, sadly enough, might have just been the last time that we ever get to see it in Revival. Oh, yikes. As it is also getting removed next season. MPH strikes first, finds Selberg, but Zephyr luckily is there to pick up the trade, minimize that damage, and bring the man count back to even. MPH very, very aggressive playstyle. This is something we saw before as well on back on Theme Park. Very, very aggressive, and it is something that is remaining true throughout this map, at least so far, these 2 rounds that we could see. Pretty aggressive player. And I think we're going to get to see more of that as well. Drones coming out, Kappa trying to find as much information as possible, and finding a little bit of it. Meanwhile, Rush and Zephyr both taking a little bit of damage here, despite that Talonate shield being in place to protect them. Rush, running out with the Iana clone and finding out, hey, there's somebody around those library/blue stairs. That could be a bit of a problem. And it was indeed Venom, who is now rotating up those fireplace stairs. 2 players staring him down, but that could be a bit of an issue if they just ignore that and let it go. That looks like there was a drone there that spotted him out, and they knew exactly where he was and what he was doing. Z7 will find Zephan and make 5 stars have to work for it a little bit harder. He will find another one of the Keppa, and now it's all down to Rush and Reprints yet again to try and find the win from a 2 versus 4. Not really giving anything away in a very far away angle there for Z7 to hold and to not really allow 5 stars anything. Reaper's trying to find a breachable part of the wall that isn't covered by a mute jammer. Unfortunately for him, and unbeknownst to him, both there are 2 mute jammers up on that double wall, so he's not able to do anything, although he is able to find a kill on Tanstatorian. Meanwhile, Rush is being contested quite heavily here by Venom. The wall will get reached. Finally, Rush drops down from the balcony, and now with 15 seconds to go, tucked at a close position, it saves. He'll find one. He'll find a second one as well. ETERNO take the round, continue their lead, and continue their tear throughout this map so far. 5 stars trailing still, not able to really put themselves on the board in any significant way. They've not been able to really get a man advantage so far at all. And have really not been able to do much when it comes to sort of the general competition of this map.
Defend
But
and protect your bombs from being
still very early, and things could really change come the second half, but that is really not what 5 stars want to be waiting for. They do not want to be waiting for that long. Just start doing something, to start putting up numbers, to start putting up rounds. They do not want to let it go that long before they've gotten a round win. That's something that I said was pretty acceptable and pretty predictable on Theme Park for it to be a perfect half, a 6-0 or a 5-1. Not so much in Chalet. Chalet is a lot closer to that median, or to that midline rather, of attack and defender win percentage.
moving to defuse a bomb.
Not quite 50%, but close to it rather. And not really a map that forgives you going, 1-5 on the half. Another ping check. Everything seems to be in order. And 5 stars will try and begin their attack. It does seem to be a bit of a bottom-up take, which is very unusual, and Keppa will find the first frag on 2MPH, who we've already seen get pretty aggressive, and that aggression finally gets punished. Venom just narrowly avoiding death there, and just dancing around so many players and so many guns right now. Still staying alive. And rotating back to the bomb side, deciding this maybe isn't that good of an idea. Caught in a frost mat. Oh my god. And it's the Chaka to shut him down. What a play there from ETERNO to use that Tachanka to their advantage in that way. But Ansatori's taking so much damage as well. Selberg, in the meantime, taking so much damage from behind those trophy cases. He will go down, and Satori finishes off Rush, and now it's all down to Reprints and Keppa yet again. Selberg in a pretty bad position. I think he's able to get retrieved, but the team is completely disjointed, and they're running out of time to really be able to get to him before he bleeds out. Reprints with a beautiful peek finds the kill on Tansatori, but as I said, they're still disjointed. Reprints and Keppa are both very far away from Selberg, and I don't think they're going to be able to find the kill. Oh my god, Keppa just shoot through the window, and he does it! He shoots through the window, finds the kill into Z7. Selberg finally eliminated as he bleeds out all the way inside of Library, bringing the man count back to even though it was already even for a little bit. Safes and Venom both find themselves They're on site and nearby it. 50 seconds to go. Still good time. Still okay utility left in the pocket of both Keppa and Reference. Those flashes should come in handy. Oh no, baited out there is Keppa. And, well, he goes down. Venom peeking every which way onto Reprince, who's now all alone in a 1 versus 2. Pretty inconspicuous angles. You can just see the edge of the backpack there of Safe, but of course that's not a position that he would be looking at. It's only easy for us to see it because we have the outlines and we know that he's there. And that might not have even been the backpack. That might have just been the shield. Discoloration looking like the backpack. Never mind, though. He swings in, finds one. Immediately traded out, and ETERNO take a 3-0 lead. 5STARS scrambling to find anything in this round. I think that round goes completely differently if they're able to retrieve Selberg. But Selberg was in such a bad position. Downed to the gunfire, there was just nothing that he could do. Although, credit where credit is due for ETERNO, that Tachanka play is definitely something that I can confidently say I've not seen before. Since some of the changes that have come in to Siege recently in the past couple of months, most notably Smoke losing his shield and that completely reorganizing the way that a lot of teams play certain sites. Tachanka has been one of the operators that has sort of come in for certain teams to replace Smoke. Not only does he have the shield, but he also has very similar utility in terms of the fact that he can, do a lot of that area denial that Smoke was able to do as well. Say, maybe even do it more effectively than Smoke, just because of the fact that his Trimika launchers last for longer, although they do less damage and they don't really disturb your vision all that much, so, they're sort of a give and take. You get certain things, but also you lose certain things when you bring the chunk instead of Smoke. And whenever we see him brought instead of Smoke, that will usually be, for that top blue shield that we see Ansatori sitting behind right now, where it will be on Oregon elbow play. I've never seen him be brought, not maybe even necessarily in place of Smoke, but just by himself for the exact opportunity that they were given there. There was a player down on a frost mat on the blue stairs, and you don't have to throw an impact grenade, you don't have to do anything, you just get that kill right away. Zephyr and Selberg both pushing straight in, finding 2 kills, but Rush will go down. Z7 on a tear finds that. Venom finds another one, immediately traded out, however, and we're only a minute into the round, and it's a 2 versus 2. Grenade will go out and will not find anything. Z7, however, isolated inside of the bomb site. Zephyr down at the foot of the door. Selberg trying to find something. One player hiding inside of mudroom, the other player in the bomb site, and he's none the wiser about that. And Ansatori will rotate around back to the stairs, and now he's got a way more advantageous position than he was in before instead of mudroom. Zephyr taking the time to drone out the bomb site and maybe find where these remaining players are, and he will find just that. He will know exactly where Zephyr is, and there goes a grenade, but then Satori from those stairs will find him. And a ping check yet again. 5STARS complaining a little bit about the ping of their opponents, and claiming that they've seen the ping exceed 100 ms, which is of course the limit that it is able to be at in Revival League. If it's consistently above that limit, then there is ground for forfeits and all sorts of stuff, but of course we'd have to confirm that before we're able to proceed with anything as such. Screenshots coming in right now, so we're just verifying their validity and the validity of the claims. But While all of that is getting settled, I will talk about that round. That round, it was a bit of a mess. I'm really not sure where half those kills came from. For 5 stars, those early picks, we really didn't get to see it. So I don't know where that goes, how that happens. We're getting ours. It doesn't look like the screenshots that we received were.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Were valid to the claims that 5 stars were making, so unfortunately they will have to continue at what they believe is a disadvantage. And it just might be. We really don't know. We have not been able to see what they are seeing, and of course we're not able to experience what they are experiencing. I'm not playing against these players. I don't know what it is like to play against one of these players. I really don't know what I'm like. I know what I'm trying to say, but I don't think any of it is coming out. I feel like I'm just repeating myself. In any case, back to the round. I don't know half the kills came from the side of 5 stars to have that round go the way that it did. Usually when a round goes that explosive, and especially when they're bringing a Maverick, it does come out to the back of, you do a rush through basement, you do a little line in the sort of connector wall, and then you shoot anybody that is nearby. That, however, did not happen. And then the Maverick died. So I really am quite confused about what happened, and another rush attempt from Selberg gets him killed. Rush now have to clear that suicide position with a grenade, and it doesn't look like it's really being held in a conventional suicide way. Although MPH quite aggressive still in that position, finally shut down by Rush. Was taking quite a bit of damage, and now Venom is, pretty aggressive. That made me want to throw up, that little spinning motion. I'm quite sensitive to sudden motions like that, and that one was really not good. In any case, still very aggressive. ETERNO have been one of those teams so far throughout the Champions League that play it very close to the chest, and they have their positions and they have their ideas, and that's what they stick to. But today, they've been very, very aggressive, and it really shows how much they want to stay in this competition, how much they want to stay in this upper bracket, and how much they want that win. Because for them to be swinging this far outside of their comfort zone of just playing very passive Siege is something very, very interesting. Now that they've finally regained that man advantage, 5 stars are able to try and open up some of these sight lines and trying to open up this office wall as well in an attempt to continue attacking the rest of ETERNO's defenses. Z7 forced to rotate away from his position inside of the little closet. Saves will find a kill and immediately trade it out. Z7 taking so much damage and vacating the premises completely, deciding that it is not worth his life to remain there. And Satori, in the meantime, has completely abandoned the bomb site and is now on a bit of a flank mission. The only person that he really could be finding, I think, is Keppo, who's currently on drones behind, I do believe, the Talonite shield. Nope, he's not behind it. That really could be a problem. He's behind it on one way, but not the way that he really should be. And now as they're progressing, and they're going to drop down to the fireplace, completely unaware of Ansatori's position, who is now inside of the bar, finds one, and is able to reload and rotate around. Reprints hunting him, trying to find that kill. Ansatori instead will find Zephin, and now has placed himself into a prone position. Reprints knows that he's prone, but can't really find that kill through the wall. Still looking down, with the pistol now in hand, and it's Ansatori, still from a prone position, with the shotgun in hand, to find Reprints. Win that round for ETERNO, extend their lead 5 rounds deep, and around probably the most confident that we've seen 5 stars look so far on this map, completely slipped away from them. Them not having any information whatsoever about Ansatori's position is 100% the cause of their downfall here, because they had the man advantage. They had quite a lot of map control. They had the top floor control. They had that control as well.
If they can.
Z7 was in quite low HP. They had everything they needed to try and make a push for the actual bomb site and try to get that plant down. Instead, what happened is they had zero information, zero intel to begin with. Really, no drones, no air jabs, no gridlock track stingers, no zero cams, nothing whatsoever inside of fireplace or inside of bar or inside of the kitchen hallway. Maybe even at the bottom of the blue stairs, wherever, to just spot out Ansatori, give a quick call out, yo, one of them is rotating to bar, be careful. Instead, they dropped down. They were lucky to not have both have died right then and there, leaving, I think that was Kappa then in a 1v1. It really could have ended so much quicker and so much earlier, and it really doesn't matter how quickly or how early it ended, because it was still a pretty substantial mistake. Having to attack onto the basement, quite unsightly bomb site to see, considering it has really lost favor, but ETERNO know exactly what they're doing. They're bringing out Azami. She's very, very strong in general, especially when there is no Flores on the board. And I find it very peculiar the fact that 5STARS, after seeing that ETERNO have banned the Flores, did not go for an Azami ban, which they tend to be a tandem ban. If you see Flores banned out, you ban out the Azami, otherwise you're pretty pooped. However, this time they are not pooped at all. They are straight into the bomb site. They found 4 kills. And Satori denies the flawless finally, but Reaperance is going for the plant. He's able to find 2 kills, and the plant will be going down. No Candela's left, as the last one pops away from Rush. Everybody's retreated to their respective positions, and they're just waiting for him to push. He pushes, and he finds 1. 1 versus 2. Player inside of blue, Reaperance outside of trench, just waiting, droning.
Defenders have
Holding these positions, and Satori gets a beautiful swing. Selberg is quicker on the fire, though, and at 1 HP left to his name, he finds that kill, and 5STARS finally find a round for themselves here in round 6, leaving their opening attacking half at a 5-1 split. Far less than favorable is this current scoreline. Than they really would have wanted. Again, this is something that I said would be pretty acceptable on theme park, just considering how forgiving that how forgiving that site is. Good lord, how forgiving that map is. But not so much in this current situation. Not so much when you're on Chalet, where there's quite a high probability of attack winning the rounds. So really not something that 5STARS want to be giving away that many rounds, but they don't really have a choice, considering how their defensive or their attacking half went. And now they at least have that 1 round breathing room. They know that they can, lose at least 1 round and not have it all be over. But it is just 1 round that they have of freedom. Other than that, they have to be pretty much flawless. Attack is already commencing from the side of ETERNO, utilizing a drone hole that I'm not gonna lie, I forget I exist. I forget I exist? I forget it exists. PH droning out. Quite a nice bounce there onto the beam, and after having been droned out, Selberg will rotate away and not give his life away. Although Saves was in a position to maybe be able to cut him off, it doesn't matter, as it's Ansatori in a position to cut him off, and that's exactly what they do. Selberg is extended a little too far, and similarly to what we saw in Theme Park when he was playing Vigil and extended a little too far, same exact thing happened again. They were able to isolate him, and they were able to pick up that frag. giving them the advantage. Very interesting use here of those Syria gates as well from the side of 5 stars, and most notably from the side of Selberg. It's similar to what we saw from ETERNO as well. It's definitely something that has been picking up traction, and now using a Ash charge to open up that wall as they do not have a buck, and so just a little too far away to deal with it. It's a little bit of utility being wasted that could have been used on the shields or those Kiva barriers, but it looks like they're going to be dealing with the Kiva barriers with the Skyros pellets instead, and kills are coming in every which way. Rush finally trades it back out. Man advantage still sits in the hands of ETERNO, and even more so now, Z7 will find Rush. All down to reprints in the bomb site all alone. Z7, I do believe, jumped into the window and found himself a frost mat as a present. Reprints now trying to rotate around. Drone finds him, and Venom knows exactly where he is. Finds that headshot kill. Cancels out the grenade. Finds that kill. Round goes ETERNO's way. They are now on the map and match point. Should they win this round, they not only take Chalet, but they also take the entire series. They advance further throughout the upper bracket into the upper bracket semifinal, or not into the upper bracket, into the upper bracket finals against the winner of REH and
Attackers need to locate
Arctic
and
Wolves,
defuse
which
bombs.
will also be a quite interesting game. I do believe that that's tomorrow. It is upper bracket semifinals number 2, where it will be Arctic Wolves and REH, and the winner of that game could be going up against ETERNO should they win this round. But 5stars are still in it, and it is, round by round. They still could do this, but it will be quite a challenge. Bringing the Valkyrie now, where she was banned back on Theme Park, and they were not able to utilize her, but now they are able to do that instead. And bringing the Fenrir as well. We saw tiny little bits of Fenrir here and there. We've been seeing a lot more of him so far throughout, the season, and I think we're going to get to see more and more of him. He's a very, very good operator, has a pretty good loadout, and, that utility, a lot of people are still learning it, which is why you don't really get to see it all that much, but I think, especially once T1 begins again in September, that is when you're really going to be able to... Is it September or is it August? I don't know. But whenever T1 begins again, you're going to really get to see a lot more Fenrir. Not just in T1, but after T1 plays him and really shows people how to utilize him properly, you're going to be seeing a lot more of him all throughout all tiers of R6 competition. And now for the potentially final round of this matchup. ETERNO making quick way through the map, taking a lot of space over on the library side of things, opening up that office wall as well, and now Zephyr is pretty much playing for his life inside of the office, seeing as there's really no way for him to rotate away without an issue. Venom, I think that might have been a self-impact, nearly dies to it, and finds a kill through the floorboards onto Selberg, immediately traded out, however. Wow, beautiful shot there from Zephyr to find MPH, and now finally the man count in their advantage. Zephyr, beautiful, finds another one, knows there's a player right up on the wall, knows there's a player potentially on the side of Fireblazer. Does he? Oh, good lord, does he? I don't know, but it's a 2 versus 4 nevertheless. Zephyr in a pretty compromised position there, and he has no idea that there's a player chasing him down through this piano hallway. He does now, and he finds that kill. It's a triple for Zephyr in this round. All down to save Salamonti, and it will be Keppa to finish it all off. 5stars find themselves the second round in this matchup, or rather, not in this matchup, it is in this map. Keep themselves alive for a little bit longer, and, force ETERNO to postpone their dinner for at least another round. Very well played from 5stars. Good counter aggression finally coming out from them. So far, I've been counting, how many times ETERNO were the aggressors, and this is something that we found from them on Theme Park as well, if you remember, or if you were there. And Satori getting those opening frags on the Wumai, very, very, very crucial, absolutely the key to ETERNO winning half, if not most of their rounds back on Theme Park. Very aggressive playstyles all around, and it is something that they have followed through into this map. Of course, to say this is something very out of character for ETERNO. So if 5STARS were watching VODs or watching streams of ETERNO play throughout Champions League, they might have been expecting a very passive, very, tied down ETERNO, and they got instead a force to be reckoned with of a very aggressive ETERNO, and so far it has been absolutely punishing them.
5 seconds to insertion.
For 13 rounds, all in total. The 7 from the previous map and now 6 from this one. It has absolutely been punishing 5STARS, but now they're finally figured out what they need to fight back. They need to counter aggress. They cannot stick to their guns of just doing, a Zeph and go kill or whatever you might think. They have to stick to their guns. They have to win those gunfights, and they have to be strong. Zephin on the bandit will try to bandit trick and does so successfully, as that was a bit of a misplay there from Z7 as well. Oh, wait, what? No, Z7 did that? He got off of the thing, I guess. I really thought that he tricked it there. But now grenades coming flying through, getting caught by the my magnet, but forcing Zephin to get off of his position, and beautiful impact trick from Keppa through the drone hole to deny that exothermic charge from blowing up. I do believe that is ETERNO now rotating around, deciding to not waste their final hard breach on that wall. Realizing, okay, they have too much utility, too much presence on this side of things. We're just going to rotate around and try to open up the trench wall instead. Rush, in the meantime, going for a bit of a flank from the west main side. They're making their way into the bomb site. He's not able to pick up the frag onto one or the other. Zephin, however, is able to find that frag just as the wall gets opened up. Selberg finally finds Venom. And now, 5STARS are able to breathe a little bit more clearly. MPH finds himself at the bottom of the blue stairs. Beautiful kill there onto Zephin. But Rush is there. Selberg is there as well. It's all up the safes outside of the building. I wonder what he's doing up there. Because he didn't just get here. This wasn't a... Oh, he has the elite... Oh, that could be it. Okay, fair enough. Because I was like, he wasn't there before. Just go into the roof and jump off, if that's the thing that has to happen. I don't know. Weird. Okay, but is he able to get kills then? If that's the issue? I don't know. Okay, well, they're not supposed to be peeking him regardless of what's happening. Instead, they do. Rush loses his life, and now Safe's stuck in a Fenrir gadget. Wastes the C4 as well from the side of 5STARS. Flashbang comes out and gets caught by all my magnet. He stims himself for potentially one last time. He uses a Gone 6 as well to clear out that Akiba barrier. It looks away just the wrong moment, and it's reprints to find him. That was a very confusing round, or a very confusing end to the round, because Safes was already out there. Safes was already out there before, it came down to a 1 versus X, so I was like, what are you doing, bro? Turns out, I'm the dumb, because he had a skin on. Nevertheless, though, 5STARS finally started to look like themselves again, finding a third round in this game, or in this map, rather, and are just trying to stay alive. Of course, I said it before, it's 1 by 1 now. It is round by round by round. You really cannot rush this. Although they have a man on their team called Rush, you cannot rush it. You cannot rush success, and you cannot rush getting to where you need to be. Finally, the rest of the team, as well as getting some kills so far, it has all come from the back of Zephin, who is I don't want to say carrying them, but has definitely been putting in the work. And it's good to see that the other players have also started to hit some of those shots. Although that was terrifying, to say the least, watching... Was it Zephin? No, Zephin was on the Bandit. Whoever it was on the my flanking down West Main Stairs. It was Rush. Good lord, that was terrifying. Because if Anstory didn't die once he got into the bomb site itself, to the pillar player, well, I think that round is a complete turnaround to what it actually ended up being. In any case, defending Bar and Gaming, again, are 5 stars. It is a round that they won. I'm pretty sure? I don't know. Rounds have blurred completely for me, but nevertheless, they're going for it again. Selberg, this time ready, finds MPH. A beautiful, beautiful patience yet again from him. Finds that kill, opens up the hatch as well to help his teammate out. Z7, however, finds himself at the top of the stairs that Selberg had just killed his teammate at. And for a moment, I thought that might be an issue, but no. Selberg has rotated away to the basement. Tries to go for a run out. Nobody's there. Safe's smart enough to not go on drones whilst on rappel, which, if you've ever played ranked, that is something that you can 100% expect from your ranked teammates, and then they blame you for not watching their flank that they didn't ask you to watch. That sounds oddly specific, but only because it has happened so many times in games that it's just, it is specific at this point. Very good use of utility there to clear out that shield. Force of Zephin in a bit of a bad position, but Ansatori, for what are you peeking? Loses his life right then and there. I don't know what he peaked for. Maybe the 12 and 6 made him, or the 12 and 5 at that point, made him a little bit too confident. Save sticks his head into the wall as well as the C7. And they're just completely getting torn apart. 5 stars, as I said, finally looking like themselves again. It's all down to Venom. The Fuser dropped outside. Through the wall, he finds Rush. That will have some question marks in chat for sure. Denies the Flawless. 1 versus 4 now. 35 seconds to go. The Fuser's still outside and limited utility. Actually, no utility. Well, they made that easy for him. They cleared out that Syria gate. I think that was Zephyr trying to throw a my magnet. And instead, whipping it a little bit. And what are you peeking for? Zephin goes down as well. They're just giving him these. But Selberg is a little too wise for that and finds the kill instead. Phew! If you're a 5 stars fan, now you can, relax. You can breathe a little. Because... boy, oh boy, did it go from a 1v5 to a 1v3 quickly there, didn't it? But nevertheless, 5 stars find themselves another round and are now just a little ways away from equalizing the scoreline and taking this to overtime. Now, that I kind of feel like I should have whispered that just so that, the powers that be don't hear me jinx 5 stars here, but I'm not saying that that's what's gonna happen or that that's what's not gonna happen. I'm just saying that is a possibility that could happen. Just as well, ETERNO could win it, or 5 stars could win it. It really, things could happen. So many possibilities, so many different things that could potentially happen. If we ask Doctor Strange, he's seen 14 billion universes, and every single one of them has a completely different outcome of this game.
10 seconds left.
Even though that's mathematically impossible, but we're just gonna ignore maths for the moment. And please, nobody tell Neil deGrasse Tyson. I don't want him to come for me.
Attackers are moving.
Could you imagine Neil deGrasse Tyson watching R64? Or R6 in general? Do you think he has time for that between, I don't know what he does, stargazing? Complaining about the wrong sky in Titanic? I don't know what he does. Being on Joe Rogan 27 times. Nevertheless, though, 5 stars going back for that top 4 defense. or it's not the top floor defense, but it technically is. It's the kitchen bomb site, but it is largely contained upstairs with the roam, and of course, I say this a lot. If you don't do it, your enemies will, and best believe. Of course, we saw this bomb site get played out recently. I say recently as if not everything that's happened this map has been recently, but you know what I mean. It was a couple rounds ago where we saw 5STARS finally start to look like themselves. Where it was, who was it? I think it probably was Zephin, who was just going on an absolute tear and destroyed everybody. Regardless though, wall open upstairs and utility raining from the sky. I'm not really sure what that was. Was that an impact grenade being thrown from Zephin, or was that a Zofia lifeline? I don't know, but Kappa will find a first pick on Transitorian. That is a very important kill indeed as they take down the Ussa. Her Talonade shields with her. And any other utility she might have, such as those impact TMPs, are also gone, but it doesn't look like they're going to be too relevant anymore as the wall will get opened up anyway, as they do not have the mute equipped for this round. Venom going in with a grenade to toss up onto that piano, and I already saw Selberg 6 feet underground, but instead it was caught by my magnet, and Kappa will find Z7. I thought that MPH 100% will find whoever that is. I think it might be Zephin through the wall, but he does not. Zephin remains alive for a little bit longer. And did I jinx him right there? I don't know who's to say. In any case, denying the flawless there, and bringing the main count a little bit closer to even now with the wall wide open, those smokes raining down into the bomb site, and all of the positions that they need covered. For the most part, they are able to maybe make a run for it. Selberg hopefully is giving the call that they're in the bomb site and they're going for the plant. Oh my god, so much is happening. I can't even call all of it. I really thought that Selberg was going to give that one away from up top as he was using that Deagle to try and open up a hole right on top of the planter. Luckily, that's not what he needed to do, as his team took care of it, and MPH in a 1 versus 3 could not do anything. It was Selberg from the jump rope, literally, to find that final kill, bring us to the final round of regulation, and this is where it is make or broken for 5STARS. Either they win it here, we see overtime, and 5STARS have the chance to take this map and take us to Villa, which will be an insane turnout, or ETERNO finally close it out here, 7-4 and 7-5 fashion, advance into the upper bracket finals and send 5STARS crying down into the lower brackets to try and fight their way back through those and maybe try and get themselves into the finals, or the grand finals rather, at last. This is a banger of a match, people. If you're not watching, well, don't know what to tell you. You're missing a hell of a game here. You really, really are. This is one of those games that I will also be calling for, you know, if you missed it, go watch it. It was a good one. Reaper's going for the good old, the old reliable, rather.
Attacker's objective is to locate.
I remember when that was first shown on stream in a T1 game. I can't remember who it was, but I remember the first time that was shown in a T1 game. Everybody lost their freaking mind. They were like, what? That table is destructible? You're able to throw a thing in there and then it electrifies the wall? What? Yeah, you can. That is exactly what you can do. It's incredible. Zephin this time will not be so good with the bandit tricks, and one of those Selmas will stick and will open up that wall. This time they were a little bit wiser, bringing 2 hard breachers, which will give them quite a lot of options. Selberg on a deep roam. We've seen him in this position before. Didn't pan out quite so well a couple of the times that we've seen it. Hopefully for him, this time it will be a little bit more successful. But like I was saying about that Cade Claw, it's the same as the Oregon one, where if you're in garage and then you toss it outside towards the wall. You get to electrify the elbow wall. It's not very practical because there's a lot of foot traffic down there, and of course it's quite known by now, so it's really not one of those that you can really use. But if your enemies don't know it, or if they're not expecting it, and especially if there's no foot traffic there from that specific team, you really, really can get away with it. And something that Ansatori somehow miraculously got away with was a counter pixel angle, taking out reprints, and there goes a C4 blown from Zephin to get that refrag. Woo! But not before he already took a lot of damage, and not really to mean anything, because Zephin's still peeking. Well, he really doesn't need to be peeking at this point. Rash will find one, Salberg will find one as well. MPH and Z7 all to their own. Z7 taking so much damage. MPH stuck inside of a Fenrir gadget, unable to do anything, and Zephin from the pillar finds both of them. And not only that, but finds the 6th round for 5STARS in this map. And ladies and gentlemen and non-binary folk, we go into overtime for Chalet. I am beyond excited. This has been such a banger of a match. If you were there yesterday when it was actually, funnily enough, me and Reprints here of 5STARS casting, it went to overtime, and it was
Attackers need to locate
wow.
and defuse bombs.
It was also banger after banger. It was a 2-map absolute show from REH and Blue Jays North Star. That was also a pretty insane game to witness. Unfortunately, though, because of the production setup that we had, half the stream ended up being on one channel, half the stream ended up being on the other channel, half the rounds weren't even captured because, I don't know, for whatever reason, YouTube is an op and doesn't want us to have fun. But if you were there, and especially if you were, me and Reprints, we absolutely loved it. This is very reminiscent of that, except even more so, I might say, because 5STARS are on a hell of a comeback here. It was a 6-1, I believe, when the comeback began, and, well, they brought it all the way back. And as I said before, it is on the back of the counter-aggression. We've started seeing a lot more of these players get a lot more confident. We saw that with Rush, we saw that with Selberg. They're taking a lot more of these gunfights, and it has been paying off. Not only that, but they're punishing ETERNO as well, and now Zephin stands tall as sort of the king of the lobby with most kills to his own name. 18 to Ansatori's 13. Absolutely beautiful, and Selberg strikes first, finding Venom, who was traversing through the fireplace, completely unaware that anybody might be behind that door. But if you remember, well, back in round 1, I think, when it was Zephin at the top of the stairs outside who found those kills, or could have found those kills, but he was just waiting. You definitely should be more aware of this. It's safe now in a pretty compromised position, but still pretty fine. Kappa finds PH. Beautiful grenade connects. And Selberg finishes off his own prey. Selberg will find another one. It's all down to Z7, and there's nothing he can do. 5STARS going an absolute tear. Find the flawless. And a round that we saw a glimpse of back in, I do believe that was round 5 or 6, where 5STARS went for a similar attack, such as that did not go as planned. They got those opening frags, but they immediately got traded out. This time, it went perfectly according to plan. Every single one of their shots hit. The grenade hit. The finishers hit. Beautifully, beautifully executed from 5STARS. This is really when they're starting to look so much like themselves. And now, for the first time, and this is disgusting that I'm saying this in round 14, but 5STARS, for the first time on Chalet, take the lead. They're now in overtime, map point. Should they win this round, going back down into the basement, a round or a site that they won twice beautifully, especially that round what did it have been? 12? Yeah, why am I so confused about it? Yeah, round 12, the round that took them into overtime. They gave them that last chance.
Mine activated.
It was absolutely beautifully executed. The round before that, when they played this, it was a really good, well-executed bandit trick that sort of turned ETERNO away to a different part of the bomb site or a different part of the map. And then it was safe with the skin that was not able to really do anything, even though 5STARS peeked him unnecessarily and just ruined their KDs and made me mauled a little bit. But nevertheless, going back down to that basement bomb site and looking to not only win it, but looking to win the map as well. Keppa taking a little bit of damage from what I don't know. Probably from the drone hole. They're sort of like contesting each other. Saves with the Brava could really be the thorn in their side, but he will not be, as they're a little too prepared for that. They shoot out one of those clutch drones, and they're looking to shoot out another one. A beautiful bandit Cade combo to deny anything, and there goes the clutch drone. Will strike, it will get taken out, however, and Zeppin still has plenty of utility to go around to still bandit trick any utility that they might have. Venom taking a lot of damage. I wish I could tell you where exactly he was taking damage from, but I'm not sure. Is Celebric still in the top floor room? No, he has vacated that top floor, but has wasted a little over a minute, and he will go down. Saves, finds that kill, leaving Rush all alone inside of kitchen, and that could be the entrance that ETERNO need. A C4 will get blown up by Zeppin. It'll find no one. It found someone in the round previous, so will not find anything now. Wall gets opened up as well. Castles are crumbling for the side of 5STARS. Rush taking so much damage upstairs. They know he's there. Do believe he's dropped through the hatch or dropped down the stairs. Kappa finds one, finds two. Blows this round wide open for the side of 5STARS, and with the diffuser now dropped inside of sight, it's going to be that much harder, but a grenade will fly from the sky, find Zeppin, but it will not find the kill. Heba barriers keeping safe from safes being able to come into the bomb site. MPH taking wasting a lot of time trying to contest here against a Fenrir gadget. Venom pushing in. Beautiful shot there onto Kappa. Reprints. Strikes at the same time. Saves some Venom do. Saves the bottom of the stairs. Diffuser now in hand, and they're going for the plant. Diffuser, or not diffuser, but the C4 rather, still in pocket of Reprints. But he's not really able to do anything about it. The plant will go down. Reprints finds one with the C4, safes. Has top floor control. Can't really see the diffuser from his position, but he could still get this win. He's just waiting for somebody to peek through. Oh, good lord, that was really unfortunate timing for him there. The plant, or the diffuser rather, is coming, and Rush on 1 HP finds that kill. 5STARS, an unbelievable comeback. A comeback that will be talked about for ages, regardless of what happens in Villa. It has been an absolute pleasure to have seen and witnessed this particular game, to witness this map. I don't think that we've seen a map like this so far throughout the season. In Champions League and qualifiers, I cannot recall a map being this exciting. I think the only time where I had this much fun and this much vigor watching a map was probably like all the way like round one of Champions League, where I think it was Lumina against Arctic Volps, and it was an Oregon Cafe game where it went 15 rounds both times. Like, it was full overtime, and it was like a trade for trade. Like, it was like 1 round for Volps and then 1 round for Lumina, and that was the way that it kept going the entire night. It was insane. And I think that since then, there's really not been a game that has had me this hype and this excited. I'm so happy to be a part of this. This is incredible. What a comeback from 5STARS. ETERNO held it in the bag for so long. They had the edge on Theme Park. it really looked like they had the edge on Chalet as well. I keep thinking back to, was that round 6? I think it might have been round 6 of this map when 5STARS were attacking on the kitchen, and they completely missed Ansatori rotating around from inside of kitchen to fireplace, and he just completely hosed them down from there. That was probably the round where I thought, okay, 5STARS, they really cannot recover from this, because that was such a basic mistake for them to make. And then they continued on from there. They lost the first round, gave ETERNO that 6-1, but then they were on an absolute tear and won like 8 rounds in a row? That is insane. Beautiful, beautiful gamemanship there from 5STARS. I'm so glad to have been a part of this. And now we will be going on a short break. I definitely need to drink some water because, oh my god. But we'll be going on a short break, and when we come back, it will be 1-1, all to play for. Final map, Villa. Stay tuned.